Bam! Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 36 chainsaw. This repair is typical of what consumes much of my repair work. People bringing in equipment that hasn't run in a while and needs the carb gone through. Of course, before I do any of these types of repairs, I always want to make sure it's going to be a worthwhile repair. Well, here I'm pulling the spark plug out and I'm going to take a look into the cylinder and just make sure it's not scored. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that comes across the bench. So this one looks good, but I'm going to check the compression on it just because of the age of the machine. I don't know. Normally I don't. If it's cylinder looks good, I just roll with it, but it doesn't hurt to get a number. Make sure we're over 100 pounds of compression. So here we clearly are on this one. We're up to 135-ish, 140, somewhere in that range. I can't quite read the gauge. But we're going to roll with it. We're going to go ahead and pull the carb off and clean it up. Well, first thing we're going to do is take a look in the tank, see what kind of condition the fuel line is in. We're going to replace that line no matter what it looks like, and we're going to put a fuel filter in it. You'll see when this fuel filter comes out, it's particularly dirty. How the heck does that even happen? Anyway, it's beyond dirty. So these saws, I don't know what year this thing is. It's older. They're pretty easy to work on. Everything comes apart pretty simple. And there's really nothing that... There's no surprises on this one. We're just going to... This is 7mm on these studs here. We're going to pop these off and get that carburetor off of there. It looks like I got a little bit sidetracked. We're going to take the throttle linkage off first, and then we're going to go back to them studs. Whatever. It's all good. Now that carburetor is sandwiched behind a metal plate, and these two Phillips head screws are holding that plate down to the plastic base. One of them usually has a ground wire on it for the kill switch, so you're going to want to be aware of that when you put it back together. Now this really isn't meant to be an instructional video like how you can fix your Husky 36. I mean, obviously you can follow some of these steps, follow along, whatever, and make it happen. I'm just kind of showing what I go through on a daily basis. We took a look into the intake and everything looked good. The intake side of the piston wasn't all beat up from dirt ingestion or anything like that. So next thing is to see if we got a carb kit in stock. And what's really surprising about this scene is that I looked up the number for the carb kit, and I don't see the carb kit laying on my bench anywhere, which means I supposedly am going to remember what number that kit is. Right. So this is what I expected to find, and I find quite often on the equipment that comes through my bench. This metering diaphragm is, it's bad. It's really stiff and it's supposed to be really pliable. It's not unusual to find them like that. And the saw may run. In fact, I've had them come through where I wouldn't think they'd run, and the complaint is just that it runs crappy. But they get the saw back and it runs like new and they're happy, you know. So we'll pop the needle valve out of there, just take a look at it and see what does it matter. It's getting replaced anyway. Scrape the face there where there's some gaskets stuck to it yet. Still don't see a carb kit laying there. So this is something I've been doing since I was a wee lad. I will turn the high and low speed screws in, see how many turns they're in, and that way I can reset them to that position, which was a position that I'm pretty sure we know it ran at, and that would be my base point when I go to tune it. But the way I lay the needles on the table there, the high one, as I'm looking at it, is always the high speed jet, and the one below it, the low one, is always the low speed jet. That's how I do it. That's how I remember them. If you came and switched them on me, I'd screw up because I don't really look at them. Although usually the longer one is the low one. So there's our ultrasonic cleaner. We're cooking away. Hey, there's the carb kit, by golly. 810 watt. Well, that's why, because it's one of the most common kits. And you can see we lightly bottomed the jets, backed them out to where they were. Now we're putting the carb back together. This kind of reminds me of a story back in high school. Oh, I don't know, a few years back. We had some kind of, I don't want to say show and tell, but we were supposed to bring in something and explain what it was, how it worked, or I don't know. I mean, I forgot about the assignment, and that day when it was supposed to be my turn, you know, a few of us kids each day would make a presentation. I just ran out to the parking lot and pulled one of the carburetors off my motorcycle and brought it in and explained how it worked, you know, how air was pulled through the venturi of the carburetor, created some low pressure that pulled fuel through the main nozzle into the venturi and into the motor, and how it atomized and was then ignited and all that good stuff. And I got a good grade. After class I threw the carb back on and rode my bike to lunch. Probably down to the local tavern to have a cool one with another teacher. Nah, I jest. So in this picture here, yeah, that was the official Walbro metering lever height adjustment gauge. And if you didn't catch what I was doing there, basically you just use the gauge to measure the height of the metering lever, and you got to bend the metering lever to adjust it. I'll do a video on that someday. That's not really the point of this. This isn't a how-to. This is just a this is what I did kind of video. This is what I do. It's not bad work, really. I mean, look, my hands, they're dirty but not greasy. It's alright. And for some reason, unbeknownst to me, there are a lot of people out there that are just confused as shit when it comes to two-cycle engines. I mean, they're simpler than most other equipment to repair, yet they're so elusive to some people. I don't get it. Speaking of not getting it, you're probably wondering why I'm pulling the fuel line out this way instead of just cutting the filter off and pulling it the other way. Well, you know how sometimes when you're really stubborn and you start something the wrong way and you're just bound and determined to keep doing it until you get it instead of turning around and admitting defeat? That's what you just witnessed there. So what am I doing with the drill? I'll tell you. We don't stock the right size fuel line. I don't know if Oregon doesn't make it or we just don't stock it, but I've always just drilled these out to this next size up fuel line and never had any problems doing it this way. One little tip is where I grab that fuel line and pull it through, I always try to cut that part off. So that part I grabbed, if I tore it or pinched it, that's part of the end that's getting cut off. And I don't think you'll see it in this video, but there's a lot of fuel line in that tank right now, and I actually pull some of it back out. Now on this saw, it's important to use Loctite. The studs right here where I put the Loctite on, not as much on that end as the other end when I put the nuts on, and you'll see that in a minute. We'll get our choke linkage in place here. I still don't have the carb bolted down tight. Kind of get a little sidetracked there. Again, 7mm on these studs. It's 90 degrees in this shop right now. I used to have an air conditioner in here, but I took it out and used that hole in the wall to vent my paint booth. Okay, our new fuel line goes on. Where are we here? And then we'll take the 7mm wrench and tighten down these studs. And now we're going to Loctite the spot where the nuts go on that hold the plastic air filter holder in place. And the reason for that is if those nuts come loose, guess where they're going? I mean, they're going right through the motor. So I always Loctite these in place. So, you know, that's about all I got here. You know, we'll get this buttoned up and test run. And that's that. I hope maybe you picked something up or you didn't. Either way is good for me. Thanks for watching. Later.
What are we, GoPro in there?
Yeah, well, you didn't watch the video from this weekend.
I didn't watch it, no. Not yet.